To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.
Welcome back to the Loose Wheels Show, Season 3, Episode 42. My name is Andrew Hazlett. That is Ethan Ignatowski. How you doing, everyone? How you?
They can't respond. I can respond though. I'm doing okay. Busy, but doing fine. What about you, Andrew?
Busy as a bee, and I just was able to watch the race this morning as I was doing something on Sunday that I couldn't watch the race. I finally got around today, and it was a good NASCAR race. Let's get into the reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
Talladega Super Speedway Truck Series. Gio Ruggiero, he won his first truck race in his career. First truck race that was won by a Tricon driver that was full-time. That wasn't Corey Heim, I believe. I saw. Because in the past they were under the David Gilliland Racing banner, and yes, they have had wins there, but not as Tricon. Because just looking at the roster of drivers they had: Haley Deegan, Dean Thompson, Tony Breidinger, Tanner Gray, and Taylor Gray. None of those guys have won races, or girls too, I guess. None of those drivers have won races in their career. So it was nice to see another Tricon driver, full-time driver, win. In the past, they've had other drivers win. Tyler Ankrum won a race for them 6 years ago. Wow, that's makes me feel old. Ryan Preece has won a few races for them. Todd Gilliland won a race for them as well. But besides Corey Heim, Tricon historically hasn't produced much in terms of winning. So it's nice to see kind of that side talk over. Austin Hill won the Xfinity race. I noted last week how, none of us picked Austin Hill to win the Xfinity race at the drafting track where he's so great at. Well, Austin Hill made us eat our words. It's a guy. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, into stage one for the Cup Series. We had multi-lane racing throughout the race. There was no the famous choo-choo train of Talladega where everyone wants fuel saving. We didn't get that, which is always good. We're all pretty much constantly drivers battling 2, 3, sometimes 4 wide, Ethan, which is what you want to see. Anyway, start off. Michael McDowell's on the pole. We had so many leaders. Here we go. Chase Briscoe, not Harrison Burton. Josh Berry drives a 21 car now. Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Berry, Busch, Berry, Briscoe, Cody Ware, Noah Gragson, Berry, John Hunter Nemechek, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Busch, Keselowski, Busch, Keselowski lead. Green flag pit stops. 2 notable drivers had speeding penalties. The police, wee woo, they're doing their work. Sound effects going in great today. One of them, Chase Briscoe, playoff contender, speeding early. Kyle Busch also speeding as well. That turned the lead over to Noah Gragson. The 77 car, Carson Hocevar, he had an issue and pitted. AJ Allmendinger leads, and bang, crash happens. We had Chase Elliott, a playoff contender. You had Noah Gragson, AJ Allmendinger, 2 of the leaders. You also had Eric Jones, Justin Haley, Ricky Stenhouse, Austin Cindric, and Austin Dillon. A lot of those guys running at the top of the field. So this was a race-altering crash, I would definitely say. Just Jones had a bad push into Gregson. All but Austin Dillon retire or lose multiple laps. Logano inherited the lead, and we've always talked about how dangerous Logano is if he gets to Phoenix. But Ty Gibbs took the lead and won Stage 1. Stage 2, Ethan. Ty Dillon stays out. Chris Buescher gets the lead as most take fuel only. On pit road, Anthony Alfredo got spun by Tyler Reddick. Not really anything damage-wise, but just incident note. Again, we had multi-lane racing, bunch of leaders. Chris Buescher, Barry, Busch, Barry, Busch, Riley Herbst, Anthony Alfredo, McDowell, Alfredo, Busch, McDowell, Ware, Busch, Barry, Busch, and Barry. When we got to green flag stops, Chris Buescher was speeding the police, busting another driver with a ticket. SVG, he spun getting onto pit road, and then he got stuck in the grass, brought out a caution. The group that came with SVG onto pit road, which was the majority field, they got an advantage of. The caution came out while they were on pit road. That put them in the best position. 2 drivers had yet to pit. Those were Reddick and Logano, so they were in the worst position. 14 drivers stayed out. Chase Briscoe inherited the lead and went on to win Stage 2. Stage 3, Nemechek, Reddick, and 4 more drivers take fuel only. McDowell takes 2. Josh Berry went to the garage. Gear oil was too hot. Returned a few laps later and wound up eventually retiring due to the same issue. Nemechek, Gibbs, Bubba Wallace, Herbst, Daniel Suarez, Logano, McDowell, and Logano lead. Herbst is slow and has a tire go down. We stayed green, but eventually Cody Ware had a spin. He had some sort of engine issue that led to that. Blaney was the first car off, as most drivers are doing splash and goes to get to the end. Restart at 17 to go. It was Todd Gillen got the lead, passing Blaney. And at 12 to go, it was Larson leading. 11 to go, it was Zane Smith leading. Gillen got the lead back at 9 to go. 7 to go, Chase Briscoe comes back. Remember, he had that speeding penalty earlier. 4 to go, it was Byron leading. 3 to go, it was Buescher leading. And then on the penultimate scheduled lap, Chris Buescher wrecks from a bad push from a William Byron, brought out the caution, brought us to overtime. Blaney and Logano, 2 Fords, had to pit. They didn't put enough fuel in their car for overtime, which was a bold strategy, didn't work out for them. A few others pitted as well. At the white flag, it was Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace leading lanes. On the backstretch, Larson ran out of gas, caused a huge shakeup that allowed Chase Briscoe to go to the inside lane, lead that lane, got a push from Ty Gibbs. He also was on the top. Those two were behind Wallace. They went to the bottom, pushed. Gibbs pushed Briscoe up to Bubba Wallace, and Briscoe just passed Wallace there at the end. William Byron spun across the line. A 9 out of 10 race. Talladega always produces this great racing that fans, and including myself, love. I think this was what I like to see, what the fans like to see. 9 out of 10 race for me, as I said. And Ethan, it was another Toyota driver winning a playoff race. All but 2 races thus far in the playoffs, Ethan. Toyota drivers winning. But what are the 2 that weren't? Actually, all but 3. I can't count. But what were 2 of the 3 that weren't? The road course, the Schmedium track, which is Phoenix as a short track medium, Schmedium. new word here that I've created. And then this week we go to a short track. There really hasn't been the closest comparison that we've seen is Bristol, where Toyota won with Christopher Bell. So interesting to note what we could see at Martinsville. In terms of the bubble, Ethan, we know Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin, they've advanced. So there's 2 spots left, 6 drivers fighting for those 2 spots, Ethan. What we have is a huge gap from those in and those out. I'll tell you the gap. Plus 37 for Christopher Bell, plus 36 for Kyle Larson. Those 2 are in good spots. At this point, when the 4 guys I'm about to name fails to win, those 2 are likely going to make it. All they have to do is finish. I'm trying to think here. Finish in the top 15, they advance without any stage help, and they're probably going to do well in the stages because playoff guys are always good at stages, Ethan, because they're the best in the field for a reason. This is how they got there. They're going to run good. So going further back, 36 back, William Byron. 38 back is Joey Logano. 47 back is Ryan Blaney. And Chase Elliott, mathematically, he has to win. He cannot. There's no way where he can finish second or worse and not make the championship 4. It's not mathematically possible. As you look at the 2 guys who finished well, or 2 guys that are ahead of everyone else, you have a 2nd and 26 for Larson, 3rd and 8th for Bell. You look at everyone else, they don't have the stage points or the results. There's something lacking there. Because Larson, he ran well. He got a lot of stage points, and he brought in a lot of bonus points. Logano, who has a 6th and a 16th, he brought in only 8 points and bonus points and 8 points in the stages. That's 20 points lost on stages this round, and doing some math here, so 24 points on bonus, Ethan. Those are holes that you have to gain with a great race. And Joey Logano, he hasn't done that. And other guys that are... Logano's the most extreme example, but...
the hate watch is working.
For Joey Logano haters, which does not include me. So we have... Looking at where we are, we have a good clue on what is going to happen if there's no new winners. The only real reason is someone gets wrecked, and a track where tempers flare, that could happen. But we're going to talk about Martinsville later on in the episode as well, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Ethan, Circuit of the Americas happened. I know a lot happened in the sprint race, and I would imagine the same in the feature race. Tell us about it.
Yeah, like you said, United States Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Andrew, it was really nice to be able to watch a race that was at noon and not 6 a.m. I'll tell you that much. Mm-hmm. But like you did say, sprint weekend, and let's start off with that. So Max Verstappen got pole position for the sprint race. Lando was in 2nd, and Oscar was in 3rd. All right? So keep that in mind. We're heading to the first corner, lap 1. Max, he kept his lead. Lando kept 2nd. Obviously, Oscar is going to try to put a move on Lando. Well, he can't go around the outside of him, and he tries to perform like a switchback, cutting back down onto the inside, but that was never going to work, Andrew. You want to know why? Because Nico Hülkenberg was right there. He hit Hülkenberg, and that bounced him back into Lando, taking out both McLarens on lap 1. It was a move that it just never was going to work. I mean, Zach Brown and McLaren blamed Nico Hülkenberg. I just don't see how this isn't Oscar's fault. I mean,
It is.
How do you not expect to see a car like you don't see, you know, you're an F1 driver on lap 1, turn 1, you know there's going to be a car there. And for whatever reason, he still tried to pull off the move, and it didn't work out. Either way, no matter who's at fault, even though, I mean, you just said you think it's Oscar, and I agree. I think it's Oscar as well. But no matter who is at fault, the results are the results. Max won the sprint. And he carried that into the rest of the weekend, qualifying, and then the main race. And Oscar, he kind of carried that lack of sharpness that has kind of appeared over the last few Grand Prix through the rest of the weekend as well. You know, he qualified 6th. Both Ferraris were ahead of him. George Russell was sandwiched in between those two. And then Lando and Max were ahead. I mean, just Oscar's on a weird run of form after being so perfect for so long. But let's get into the actual race. On lap 1, turn 1 of the main race now, Max Verstappen again was able to stay in the lead. Lando, he got a good jump off the line, but in that second phase of the start, Max was very quick. He got in front of Lando, and Charles Leclerc, who started on the softs, also got a great start and was side by side with Lando through turn 1. And Lando was behind Max with Leclerc on the outside, so that kind of boxed him in. He wasn't able to go anywhere or do anything, and Leclerc was able to speed around the outside of him. Nice move there. Leclerc was very rapid at the start. He was almost able to challenge Max for the lead, but not quite. Like I said, he was on the softs. He was the only driver in like the top 15 on the soft tires. It was a risk given the temperatures, but it ended up being a great call. Those tires worked beautifully for him. Great call by Ferrari, and just a great strategy day for Ferrari, which I don't think has ever been said on this show. That's one area where Ferrari just week in and week out at very best is mid, but they had a great weekend from the strategy department, at least on Charles Leclerc's car. Later on in lap 1, though, because that wasn't all the action, Oscar Piastri, he was able to get into 5th place, and Albon and Bortoleto collided on lap 1 as well. Albon got the worst of that one, but both drivers were able to carry on. There was a lot of action, though, in the early stages. Good battles between Sainz, Behrman, and Antonelli, but things went wrong on lap 7 when Carlos Sainz went down the inside of Kimi at turn 15. Tried to make a move work that was never going to work. And on the broadcast, they said it was similar to the move that Piastri tried to force during the sprint, and from the standpoint of like trying to force something that was never going to happen, I suppose it was similar. But yeah, Sainz tried to go late on the brakes down the inside. All he ended up doing was hitting Antonelli. Antonelli's race never really recovered from that point. Carlos actually had to retire, and the stewards gave him a 5-place grid drop for Mexico for his antics. Around lap 10 and 11, both McLarens were complaining about tire wear, which is unusual because the car has just been so good at that. Just something I wanted to mention. But Lando eventually did get right on the rear of Leclerc for 2nd place, but wasn't able to get past him for a number of laps. It was good defending, good battling. There was a lot of anticipation that was building up. On lap 15 and lap 19, they were practically side by side through a number of corners, but Leclerc was still able to hold on. Great driving by him until lap 21 when Lando passed him at the end of that long straight right before turn 12. Hamilton and Leclerc then had a quick battle before Leclerc came into the pits, and this is part of why the soft tires and why I was saying Ferrari had such a great strategy this race. He came into the pits to essentially undercut Lando. He was going to have to put a long stint on those mediums, but he was undercutting Lando, which was really important for him. Lando had to go long because he couldn't, go from mediums to softs on lap 22, 23. That just wouldn't have worked. It's a 60-something lap race. So he had to go long. And if I was McLaren, I would have also started on the softs. And that's easy to say now with hindsight being 2020. But it would have given them the best chance to fight for a win, to challenge Max, who is on top of his game right now, for a win. I don't know if they would have done anything differently. Everything still worked out, fine for them in the end, but they didn't win the race. I'll spoil that much. And, if you start Lando on softs, maybe you do. I don't know. Who knows? Lando eventually did pit on lap 33, so he was still giving himself a long stint on those softs. And when he did pit, it was a slow stop. He came out 4 seconds behind Leclerc, which not ideal for him. There was some drama on lap 35 when Oliver Behrman spun after some off-roading. He was trying to get past Yuki Tsunoda for 7th place. But really the only exciting part of the last half of the race was Lando versus Leclerc. I mean, that really saved this race. It really did. Lando, within 10 laps of pitting, got super close to Leclerc, but he wasn't able to make a move. And then all that pressure on his soft tires, he started to fall back. But the tires did come back to life near the end of the race, and he snuck past Leclerc at turn 1 on lap 51, but Leclerc was able to put a switch back on him, so he still wasn't giving up. But later that lap, on the inside of turn 12, Lando was able to get that place for good. Honestly, just great driving by both of these guys, in my opinion. But Leclerc really did show specifically why he is so good. He doesn't always get an opportunity to, with, everyone focusing on the McLarens and Max, and that car not always even allowing him to show how good he is. But he really showed out this weekend. He's the best driver in the world, not named Max Verstappen. I will stand by that.
Leclerc?
Yeah. But after Lando made that move, that was that. I mean, unless you care about the Alpines fighting for 17th over the last couple of laps, that was all the action left. Max crossed the line on lap 56 for another very, very dominant victory. Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri, Russell, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Behrman, and Alonso made up the rest of the top 10. Like I said, solid race. Lando and Leclerc really saved it from being just kind of meh. Still wasn't anything super awesome in my opinion. Do we still give races a number grade? Yeah, no, Andrew.
That's your call now.
That's my call.
For your F1 part, you do whatever.
That wasn't what I was asking you, but okay. 6.5 out of 10, I guess. Like I said, it was a 10 out of 10 for not having to wake up at 6 a.m., but we'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. As for the championship standings, because it's really close right now, Piastri, he's at 346. Lando is at 332, which is 14 back. And then Max Verstappen, originally it was a joke that Max was going to find a way to win the championship this year, but no one's laughing anymore. He is only 40 points back of Oscar Piastri and 26 points back of Lando in second. I don't think Max would really care if he finished second or 18th, but yeah, just continuing to climb up, continuing to prove why he's the greatest.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and who knows how it'll play out, but it'll be very interesting to see.
That said, let's move into the news now. There's news to talk about.
And now,
for the news.
F1's got some interesting stuff, Ethan. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this first piece of news. You put it in the doc, so you can go ahead.
Let me find it again. Let's move over to the second piece of news then.
All right, Apple TV, or just Apple in general, was confirmed to be F1's new broadcast partner for the North America market, or at least the United States. This was something that we talked about last week, how the vice president of Apple was trying to say, oh, no, we don't have anything to announce. There's nothing happening. And we both kind of said, yeah, we don't know about that. Well, at CODA over the race weekend, it was officially announced that Apple has signed a 5-year partnership with F1 to be the exclusive, it is just U.S., not North America, or seemingly just U.S., but to be the exclusive U.S. broadcast partner from 2026 onward through that 5-year deal. Apple has obviously been getting a lot more involved in F1 over recent years with obviously the F1 movie, and now they will be broadcasting it. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work because Apple TV it's not like ESPN where it was just, part of YouTube TV or cable, whatever you watch it on. Apple TV is obviously its own thing that you have to pay for separately. So they say select races will be available to watch for free. They don't say which ones. All free practice sessions will be able to watch for free, and we don't know how many.
Putting the free in free practice.
Yeah, and we don't know how many races are these select races that are going to be free. Is it half the season? Is it a third of the season? Is it 2 races? We don't know. But to watch qualifying and what I would assume to be most of the races, you're going to have to get an Apple TV subscription, which, as a fan, is kind of annoying because just one more thing to pay for to have to watch this sport. Still paying for all the other stuff because I'm still going to watch, sports that are on YouTube TV through ESPN and all that. But I think the one redeemable aspect about this is Apple is going to care a lot. They've already demonstrated a high level of care for Formula One. F1 kind of at times has felt like something that's on the back burner for ESPN. They've recently really, in my opinion, increased what they've been doing from a social media aspect and all that, but I'm excited to see what Apple can bring to F1 because I think they'll be a little bit more involved than just taking the Sky Sports stream, putting it on their program and calling that. I think they will be a little bit more involved. I mean, Eddie Q, the vice president that we talked about, who last week was saying, oh, no, we got nothing to announce. Well, during the announcement, he said that, Apple looks forward to delivering premium and innovative fan-first coverage. So, look.
Whatever that means.
I don't know what that means, but I'm all for it if it actually means something. You know what I mean? So, interesting. We've known that this was going to happen, but now it's official. And, yeah, I mean, cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Annoying, but also has the potential to be cool.
Here's kind of my thoughts on it, is that from a non-F1 fan's perspective, it's I rarely watch F1. I only do it when it's convenient for me, and I might go out of my way to watch maybe a Monaco at most. But So this isn't going to
Oh, and
help.
the deal. Sorry to interrupt you, Andrew, but I should mention the deal is around $750 million, which is absolutely insane. ESPN's deal is like $300 million.
Like that money is cool. I wish I was getting paid like 1/10 of 1% of that. Regardless of what I want in terms of money, but like I'm definitely not gonna go out of my way to get a subscription for Apple TV. And now that I know only a few races are gonna be on in the U.S. for free, I don't even like. Someone would have to let me know what those races are, and then I kind of decide, is it convenient for me to watch? Yes or no. Certainly in this stretch of where football or both college and NFL and the NASCAR coming down the wire for me, it hasn't been convenient for me to watch F1 at all.
I mean, that's fair, but you're not.
I'm gonna make a comparison here. So, if you look at INDYCAR, if I were to take a casual perspective of someone who really doesn't care, or say, it's whatever, that person's gonna look and see all the races are on Fox, all 17 of them. Everyone and their mother has Fox. If you have cable, streaming, or even just have an antenna on your roof, you have Fox. The accessibility there is 20 times better than what F1 has. And I look at it as an opportunity for INDYCAR to potentially seize a moment and take off if they can harness the social media and the casual fans. Say, okay, watch this. Anyone can watch it. Here you go.
There is absolutely zero chance that happens, Andrew, and I'll tell you why. People simply care about F1 far more than INDYCAR or NASCAR, and in the U.S. it is growing at an exorbitant rate. You might not care about F1, but there are so many people that already go out of their way to watch the sport that this isn't really going to stop them, and it's growing at a rate that okay, even if some people don't buy Apple TV, it's not going to matter because there's going to be more people coming in that are. So
I agree with you. I was just talking exclusively from a casual's perspective. If a casual is given two choices, and even NASCAR, I'm gonna do a similar thing. NASCAR, when NASCAR's on Prime, we saw a lot lower ratings because you see the casuals say, I don't have Amazon. Some people say I don't have Amazon Prime, which is
that's just the old heads.
Which a lot of people do. I think we'll see more in that with Apple TV, because I feel like a lot more percent of the population has Amazon Prime because you can buy stuff there. You can't buy stuff on Apple TV. So it's kind of an apples to oranges comparison to bananas with all these three sports, but it'll be interesting to see what the ratings do, because the ESPN's ratings are going up, but will we see kind of a valley for F1, or will we see a valley and then higher peaks? Are we just going to stay in this valley, or will it kind of teeter off, head down a little bit? It's interesting to see. I think there's a lot of other factors with F1 in terms of how the product is, what the decisions are. So I think it's perfect time to transition back to what our first piece of news was Tim Mayer is not able to be a part of the FIA presidential race, citing electoral process is blocking challengers. The process and racer.com, their article says that the requirement for candidates to submit a presidential list includes one vice president for sport from every region, and that those VPs must be drawn from the nominated positions for on the World Motorsport Council, but only with one candidate from South Africa nominated and 2 from Africa, who are all already aligned to Mohammed Ben Saliem, the current president. There is no chance of a challenger submitting a full list. Mayer says, quite simply, there is no choice. There will be no vote between ideas, contest of visions, no test of leadership. There will only be one candidate, and that's not democracy. That's the illusion of democracy. So FIA is looking interesting. He also goes on to say, so while the rules of the election mean that there will be no election, our cause continues. Our campaign is now over. It's just entering a new phase. We will keep driving the FIA forward until democracy, service, and partnership are rewards of a statue, the living values of our federation every day, and we can bring to charters the FIA desperately needs. He notes that there was 40 candidates last election and 29 only this year. So that's interesting to note. So just interesting. Just interesting note. He goes on a lot in this article. Regardless, I've been on the MBS hate train since day one.
Aren't we all?
Well, before this election, I was like, I'm not a fan of this guy who did some random rally series once or twice. I don't know if he has the wits about him, and he clearly doesn't. I'm convinced that my dead grandma could run the FIA better than he does. Quite frankly, I think a baby could do it. I think. I don't know, anyone could do it better than him at this point. But it's unfortunate to see because I don't think he's building the FIA up, because this is.
I agree.
This is like the FIA has closer ties to F1 and the World Endurance Championship in particular, but they still govern branches that have kind of govern NASCAR and INDYCAR to the extent that stuff we talk about here. So this does have ripple effects, which is unfortunate to see. Just FAA, boo. That's all I have to really say about this. I don't know about you, Ethan.
Yeah, FIA, boo. It seems that MBS is going to be be in charge of the FIA for foreseeable future. I mean, every time someone wants to challenge him, they end up not. So obviously
there's a problem.
Obviously nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change for a while. And yeah, like you said, some of the decisions and the inconsistencies and the back and forths, we've covered it all. And, since we only have 20 minutes left on the show, we're not going to really get into it. But we've talked about it a lot. And, just not great stuff. On to the next bit of news. Colton Herta was officially announced to be racing for High Tech in next year's F2 championship. We knew that Colton Herta was going to be racing in F2, but now it is officially announced that he'll be racing for High Tech, which is a team that, finished second in the Constructors' Championship, or not finished, sorry. They're currently second in the Constructors' Championship. Luke Browning, who is their lead driver, is currently third with an outside chance of winning. I think that Leo Fornaroli is probably it's not a comfortable lead, but
he's in command.
He's in command, and Jack Crawford and Luke Browning and Richard Verschoor are probably just going to be stealing points from each other. And those are the 2, 3, 4 drivers in the standings. But either way, no matter where Luke Browning finishes, solid year for him in that car. So we know it's possible to have solid results in that car. We also know that results in F2 aren't always meaningful, but still. And High Tech, they're always at least a solid team, although really these last 2 years are the first time that they've had drivers who have been able to really kind of do something and get wins and get consistent podiums and stuff like that. And so we'll see if Colton Herta can continue that on. We don't know his teammate. That hasn't been announced. Maybe Luke Browning will stick at High Tech. We know that Dino Bogdanovich, who is the other High Tech driver, he is going to Dams for next year. So maybe that's how the cookie will crumble. Dan Tauris, who is kind of at the head of Cadillac and all that, talked about how this is, really great for Colton's future. Colton talked about how this is really great for his future. High Tech talked about how this is awesome. Everyone said what you would expect them to. Like I said, we really don't have much time.
I feel like there's not much to talk about with him going there anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's in a good car, yeah.
Well, one thing I do want to mention really quick. This reminded me, though, what is going on with Oliver Oakes and his brother? Because this is their team. High Tech is their team. I don't know.
Anyway,
ownership of High Tech, who knows what's going on, but we do know that Colton Herta will be racing for them.
Maybe I'll buy it with this money I make from whatever I mentioned earlier. Anyway, IndyCar silly season movie rumors. AJ Foyt, we have 3 open seats. This is in Marshall Pruitt's recent article. He says AJ Foyt is going to sign an Indy Next runner-up Kyle Collett, Ethan, which is a bit of a surprise to me. I feel like there's better drivers on the market, but if he brings funding, which is always needed, that's a solid option. Yeah, he deserves a chance. 19 of Dale Coyne Racing. It sounded like they want to bring Roman Grosjean back. I think he's still the leader in that. Some other names that were tossed around were Linus Lundqvist and Connor Daly, both free agents who should have seats, and Jacob Abel as well, who drove for the team last year as a possibility. The 30, that this would be the, I think, third different driver in 3 years for the 30 car for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Actually, it might be the fourth in 4 years, actually, if that's correct. But anyway, let me check that, because that's an interesting, because Devlin DeFrancesco drove it in 25, Pietro Fittipaldi did in 24, Jack Harvey drove it in 23 with Connor Daly and Yuri Vips in the car at the end of the year as well, and then Christian Lundgaard drove the 30 in the year before because they switched the 30 and the 45 for whatever reason. And then Takuma Sato drove the 30 the year before. So the last time a guy who drove that car in back-to-back years was Takuma Sato, who did it for a long time. Because that really, we're going all the way back to when this 30 car was created. So this car has never had stability. Devlin DeFrancesco is not one of the names on the list. Linus Lundqvist, Connor Daly, the 2 names I mentioned earlier as a possibility for the 19 car for Dale Coyne. Possibility as well. And some other names, Ray Hall's test drivers, Yuri Vips, Toei Sowery, they could have a shot. And Mick Schumacher as well. We'll see. Moving over to NASCAR, some silly season news. Daniel Suarez lands Spire Motorsports ride, as we speculated last week. Go to the last episode of the show to hear our thoughts about that. I'm not moved. Ethan's slightly more moved than me.
It's not that I'm moved.
don't hate it as much as I do.
Yeah, I think it's a perfectly fine move. You don't like the move.
We've seen Freeway Insurance jump over to this team, which is going to be sponsor a lot of those. I was in a lot of the races. I wasn't sure whether or not they were going to jump over or not, but now that we know they've jumped, that looks better on paper now with you know that they're coming over. I would imagine Quaker State does as well. I know Coke's going over. So that's some races Trackhouse is going to have to fill. A fewer races that Spire is going to put their own brands like Gainbridge, Group 1001, and Delaware Life on the car.
This is part of the reason why I think that this is a perfectly acceptable move. You just mentioned Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola only does one race a year, though.
Cool. That is still a lot of money that's going to be brought into the team. An insurance company. That's something. Quaker State, they're not that big, but they're a lot bigger than Justin Haley sponsors. This is money being brought into the team.
We'll see how that goes next year. Zane Smith inks multi-year extension with Front Row Motorsports, and the team also confirmed Todd Gilliland and Noah Gregson will be back in their cars next year. So another year for this team to develop, hopefully take a step forward. We'll see with the NASCAR lawsuit, which we'll talk about later. NASCAR unveils a 16-turn layout for Naval Base at Coronado Street Course. It could be good. It could be bad. Some
great analysis.
That's really all I can say. Like, there's some different turns. The Coronado chicane looks interesting to me. It
looks like a fairly boring track, if you're asking me.
But we'll see. A lot of sleepers, a few 90-degree corners as well. But Chicago looked boring on paper, and look what that was. So just kind of hard to judge. Ryan Preece compared it to a Fortnite map with all these names for corners, which honestly he's not wrong. Runway Road, Coronado Chicane, Carrier Corner. Where's Retail Row at this point? So yeah, like, it looks coolish, but we'll see. Avoiding Super Bowl conflict, the Daytona 500 moves back a week in 2027. Daytona 500 for the longest for a while. It's been President's Day weekend. Now the Super Bowl, NFL moving back. Yeah. Boo NFL. All I have to say about that.
What?
I don't get the NFL off my NASCAR weekend. President's Day weekend belongs to NASCAR. NFL, go away. I don't
You're
want
insane. Andrew, you're...
It's the NASCAR fan in me wants NASCAR to be on NASCAR weekend. Like,
Super Bowl gets priority. This is a motorsports show. I don't care. Super Bowl gets priority over everything.
You can leave then.
I will.
Judicial Settlement Conference fails to resolve NASCAR charter dispute and some NASCAR news. And interestingly enough, the Driver Advisory Council has filed a brief saying that they're concerned. The DAC is concerned that its drivers' rights and interests may be materially impacted by any resolution in the case, they say. To have any discussion or negotiation about the future of the sport without the drivers having an independent voice and being heard is unproductive. And then they say that the drivers seek to have a sport that is unified, healthy, and protects the interest of all parties involved while giving the fans the best experience possible. So they're saying, we want a say in this, which would make things complicated. Because, interestingly enough, Tenny Hamlin, one of the drivers driving, is one of the owners suing. So, for what it's worth, it's interesting. Just interesting.
And now, for next week's race previews.
Moving in over to the previews, Martinsville Cup Series, one driver, Casey Mears in the Garage 66, the only open driver. Xfinity Series, Brad Perez in the 07 for SS Greenlight, Brendan Queen for Colleague, Corey Day for Hendrick, Justin Bonsignor in the 18 for William Sawalich, who's out for concussion-like symptoms, and Eric Amarola for Joe Gibbs in the 19. Patrick Storopoli, the doctor, in the 24, Austin Green in the 32 for Jordan Anderson, Joey Gase's cars 35, Takuma Koga, 53, Mason Maggio, 45, Josh Williams for Alpha Prime. 50 for his own family team, Preston Pardis. Thomas Annunziata, the new model, is driving for Cope Family Racing. 91 is for DGM, Myatt Snyder. 99 for Viking, Connor Mosak. Truck Series, Brent Cruz in the 1 for Tricon. Logan Bearden in the 02 for Youngs. Rayum's Trucks, Clayton Green, Alan Waller, Frankie Muniz. 222-33 respectively. 6 for his own team, Norm Benning. He's been doing a lot of races here recently, so that's good to see. 7 and 77 for Spire, Brendan Queen and Corey LaJoy. Nice, 41 Connor Jones, 44 Andres Perez, 45 Bailey Curry, 52 Caden Honeycutt. That's on the playoff drivers for Halmar Friesen. 56 for his own team, Timmy Hill. 69 for Garage 66, Casey Mears. The Doctor, Patrick Starpoli in the 84 for Cook. And for his own team, the 90, Justin Carroll. The five drivers I give you to watch out for. 6-time winner there, Denny Hamlin. 2-time winner there, William Byron. 2-time winner there, Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson also in there once. All playoff guys. Other guys that I did not mention, 2-time winners there, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and 3 one-time winners in Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott. The data says 6.5, so expect to see a solid race. We had the Hail Melon there a few years ago. That's not going to happen again to the NASCAR Bandit. Ethan, talk to me about Mexico.
Well, what would happen if someone did it?
Penalty.
What's the penalty?
I don't know exactly.
Okay. F1's going back-to-back with Mexico. Now up next, like I said, Sainz has a 5-place grid drop. That's all there is to say. It's
Into the pick points now, Ethan.
And now for next week's race picks.
I have some bad news. If you were rooting for me in pick points,
No one was. Sorry, Andrew. We're Team Ethan on this show.
We
are Team Ethan.
My chicken is somewhere in here. There it is. I'm going to give the chicken award to myself because, Ethan,
Wow.
I am washed.
Wow.
I've fallen behind the guests. That's why I'm saying this.
Cue the sound effect.
Here we go. I'm just washed. Squeak it here. So, with that said, Ethan, like I said, I have fell behind the guests. Now I went from battling you to battling the guests here in a sharp turn. I have not gained on you since week 30. We are in week 39 or 38. So I have not been winning, period.
This is embarrassing for you.
Nosedive for me. I am now 52 points back. Guests last week were a random wheel and Brendan. Now 48 points back. You gained 2 on them. So with that said, you lead 330 to 282 to 278. Looking through last week's race results, you and the guests both had Max Verstappen winning both the feature and the sprint race. Y'all were right. I had Lando and Max on my podium, so I get 1 point for each. You had Lando finishing second, which was right. The guests had Lando finishing third on the podium. Gets
You're
1
telling me
point.
that a random wheel predicted Max, Oscar, Lando?
No, that was Brendan that did that. The random wheel did the NASCAR. Corey Heim beat out Parker Kligerman and Frankie Muniz, so 1 point for you. Justin Allgaier beat out Jesse Love and Carson Ware, so 1 point for me. And Zane Smith beat out Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, so 1 point for the guests. That was the random wheel. This week we've got Alex doing the F1 picks and Giuliano doing the NASCAR picks. So, Ethan, let's get into it. Me and the guests for our F1 podium, we have the same podium of Lando, Max, Oscar. I think this is the time where Lando finally gets one and possibly takes the championship lead, passing Oscar, who finishes third. I have Max finishing second because he's just been on a run form, and Oscar hasn't.
I love to hear that from you. However, I do have to disagree. Although my podium will also be wrong because I'm just predicting the same podium as last race, and that might have happened this year. Might have happened multiple times this year. I don't know. I don't think it has, though. But the reason I'm doing it is because last year Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were super fast around Mexico City. Carlos Sainz actually won that race. Max Verstappen has been on an just crazy run of form. He is also so good at Mexico. Last year, he finished 6th, and it was like mind-boggling how he did and how he finished that low. Because that was like the one place that the Red Bulls were bad.
Mm-hmm. The same F1 podium has not happened twice in this back-to-back, same order.
Okay, there you go then. So, and then Lando, because he is on a better run of form than Oscar over the last like 4, 5 maybe races, however long it's been. So that's why I'm taking over the same podium, and then into
why Charles at 3?
I just said Ferrari was
good.
So fast there last year. Sainz won that race, or was it last year or 2 years ago? I don't know. Regardless, Ferrari's been good there in recent history.
Moving on to the Truck Series, me and the guest have the same pick again. We're going Corey Heim. He's just him. I'm
going Ty Majeski. He's won there before. He is still in the playoff race. He hasn't won a race yet this year. I believe in him. I'm picking him.
Xfinity, we're going 3 separate ways. Only time me and the guest differ this week, so that's interesting to note. But I'm trying to still focus on you. You and me, I have 6 different picks. Guest going Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity Series this week. I go Eric Almirola. Both are good at short tracks. Eric Almirola's won there recently in the 19 car, so I think he can get it done again.
Connor Zillage is good everywhere. End of discussion.
All right. I'm going for Cup Series. We saw in the round of 12, we saw Hamlin and Briscoe in the first 2 races. And who won the 3rd race, Ethan? Christopher Bell. That's who me and the guest are picking this week. Christopher Bell's good there. Bell was both of our preseason picks for the championship. I think he's going to punch his ticket.
I like that pick. I like it a lot. I really do. However, as you already said, we're going different. I'm picking Ryan Blaney. He's been very good there, especially in recent history. And, it's time for him to punch his ticket too, right? So who's it going to be? I don't know. I could really see either of those guys winning. I also wouldn't count out William Byron. Whoever does win, I think the winner will be someone on the bubble punching their ticket. I don't think that we're going to get a non-playoff driver winner because all these guys are going to be fighting for the win so aggressively. But that's all the time we have for. So thank you, everyone. That's Andrew Hazlett. I'm Ethan Ignatowski, and see you later.
Goodbye.
All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers!